Hey everybody, this is Tyler Dockery, and I hope today is treating you well. Today I am looking at the opinions of others. And just first of all, I want to say thank you so much for everybody being able to give me some nice feedback or some not so nice feedback. I'll take that also. And just to let everybody know that I really do appreciate all the things that you are bringing to the table. This is happening at a very particularly dangerous time for me. So let's just kind of see how everything goes here. So the first thing that comes up is, what does anybody actually think about me doing this? My family is behind it. A lot of them know that I'm doing this, and they're very supportive and quiet and letting me do this at night, moving into this office area, which is actually just a hallway between rooms. And that is really, really great. I had probably about 20 or 30 comments that I had to go through, and I try to listen to every single person's feedback and try to see what's out there. And there's some really good stuff out there. So I really do appreciate it. It really means the world to me that you guys are behind me and that you support me in this. Even if you're watching this for the first time and you're like, who is this guy? Why should we bother to care? Those are perfectly valid and great questions to be asking. But the opinions of others, I think, are nice. They hear that I'm doing this, and many times they want to know, why are you bothering to do this? What do I gain from having a 30-day challenge? And it's nice. Not only is it a constant positive force of feedback for me to tell other people that I'm doing this, but when they ask me, hey, how's that going? That's something that I find very helpful to move me along this line. And I feel already as though when I stare at the camera, it's not so intimidating these days. And that's a really great thing. So I'm super proud and super pleased about the way that things are going. So thank you so very much. Everything that you say is a positive note. So thank you. Even when people tell me that they don't like what I've done, that's okay. There's room for improvement there. And it's all about keeping a positive attitude. What happens when I'm talking with someone and I hear the answer, but I just don't agree? That's a very realistic situation, because you can't go through life thinking that you are going to hear positive things every single minute of every single day. Who says that you should be protected? Right? You should not expect every single day to walk through your life feeling that you will be protected and only hear positive things and only hear good items about yourself. It is an occupational hazard. If you feel like you are going to go through life without hearing a difference of opinion from someone, or someone who tells you that your best efforts are not enough, that is part of the unwritten contract of living in a society. If you want to learn how to do something, if you want to learn to be better, if you want to get along with people, you have to understand that you're going to be offended. You're going to hear things that you don't want to hear. It doesn't make it easy. In fact, it makes it harder. But the alternative to that is to go be a hermit and live off in the middle of nowhere. And that can't even happen. So, for instance, recently I wanted to find out if I could build on part of my land, and I went to the county. The county told me to go to a different building, that they couldn't give me any help. I went to that building. They told me I needed to go to a third building on the far side of town, that I couldn't get any help from the county. I needed to go to the town. I went to the town, and the town had closed at noon on every Friday. So I wasn't able to talk to anyone about what I could do. And when I went back, I found that because I didn't have an appointment, no one could help me. There was a person that was supposed to handle walk-ins, and that person quit their job. So until that person got rehired, there was no one to be able to answer questions or to work with people who walk in off the streets. When I asked if I could talk to the person that was talking with me right then, they told me no, that they worked in a completely different district of the town, and they couldn't give me any answers. They couldn't give me any hypothetical answers, and they couldn't give me anything in person or in public, and they couldn't give me anything in writing. And so when I asked how I would find out if I could even do anything with my property, they said that there is a person that works specifically with my area of town, but that person had quit, and so until that position was filled, there was not a person that could sit down and talk with me. And what they said I could do is just give them about 12 to 15 separate emails outlining all the different things that I would like to do, and they would simply react. And of course I didn't like to hear that, because I don't want to get attached to any idea. And they said the reaction would not be handled by the person that was talking with me, it would be a separate person. And when I asked if I could get an appointment with that person, I was told that that person is not allowed to take appointments for people that live outside of his district. So you can understand that when I go for help and I can't get help by walking in, there's no one for me to talk with, I can't make an appointment, that's all very hard to hear. And it's super easy to become pushy and suggest that I go and talk to their supervisor or their hypervisor or whatever's above each step up the line. It becomes very difficult very quickly. So when I hear that there are answers that I don't like or answers that I just don't agree with, the first thing that I have to do is I have to not react, because just because I don't like it doesn't mean that it's wrong. One of the priests that I know very famously says, if there's 99% of the people want something and there's just one person in the crowd who's shouting not to do it, you 100% have to listen to that one voice, because it might be a voice of reason. And if everyone is saying we've got to take out the governor, and one person says no, don't do it, this is a terrible thing, that voice of reason is really important. And so when I am discussing and I'm hearing an answer I don't like, I have a very distinct knee-jerk reaction that I'm right and that person's wrong and every idea that they have is wrong. But your first thoughts are usually about how to get your way. They're selfish in nature. But my second idea is usually, okay, let's sit on it, let's let it marinate and cogitate for a couple of days and just see, like, are they still wrong or am I still upset about it? And usually after 2 or 3 days, if I can't find myself in a position, then I usually go back to the first person that I talk to and I just say, hey, I'd like to explain to you why I don't think that's correct. And sometimes that's possible and sometimes it's not possible. And in the end, like, it's really an opinion. But when we find something that we just don't agree with, we can choose to keep going, do our everyday lives. We can choose to split from that person and begin to totally disagree with them, or we can just choose, for lack of a better word, choose to love them, and even though they have a differing opinion from us, we can rejoin and go on with the rest of our lives. Here in America, we get all up in arms over politics. In some areas of the country and other countries of the world, people love to talk and debate about politics, but here in the United States, we're pretty firmly split. You either like something or you don't. If I tell somebody this is my stance on your Second Amendment, and I like these things and I dislike these things, and they say, well, this is my stance on the Second Amendment and I dislike these things and I like those things, you kind of have to make a decision. Are you going to ignore someone or hate them because you disagree? No. There's a shortage of friends out there, and just taking some time to step back and really consider, am I really wrong? Am I really right? Kind of goes a long way to at least consider meeting that person in the middle. We don't have to be right all the time. It's okay. What causes you to lose respect for someone? That's a toughie. Sometimes first impressions can make you dislike someone or get the wrong idea for them. And for me, I like to try to give a person 2 or 3 tries before I form a pretty permanent opinion on whether it's doable or not doable. But the thing that usually causes me to lose respect for someone is that they have something that they do and they are not good at it, but they stand firm behind their ability to do the job even when evidence is to the contrary. And I'm sad to say that a lot of the things that cause me to lose respect or dislike others are things that I dislike and do not respect about myself. So I don't want to turn the eye inward too much, but if I find myself in a position where I'm working for somebody who their craft is graphic design and their graphic designs are not good, I don't lose respect for that person, because they can always improve and be greater. But if that person were to tell me, I know so much about graphic design, I don't even bother anymore. I do all of my work with the AI button in Canva. My client didn't like that, and my client was vague, so I charged them double. Like, these are things that I don't like. If you're working for someone, you're going to be a steward of their money and give them something that they can be happy about. If you find that you are purposefully creating something that is less than the best, it's less than good, you're just doing something, you're tacking extra time onto what you do, those kind of freelancers, I don't like them. They rub me the wrong way every time. So finding the right fit for that is really what's going to bring things home for me. And the person who digs in their heels and says that they will never move, even though the entire Earth is rotating and spinning around the sun and around the galaxy and all that stuff, like the person who digs in and says that they will never move, yeah, I kind of disrespect that. If at a later time that person comes up and was like, hey, I said that I was never going to use Adobe products. I said I was never going to use Google products. But hey, I tried them out. They weren't too bad. They're not really for me, but I'm learning. Like, all right, like you just went up a notch in my book because you're trying harder. I work in graphic design, and that is where culture and technology come together. So when I see people who are stuck in a rut, unmoving, I really get worried about those individuals. So for instance, I live here in Hillsborough, North Carolina. We have a guy who does airbrushes for vans. That's his job. He's been good at it since the late 80s. It's been 40 years. He's got binders and binders of wolves howling at the moon and, Mesoamericans bringing a collapsed princess down a ziggurat and, all kinds of things that you could dragons, full moons, you name it, he can do it. But every single piece of work that he's done looks like it's from the late 80s to the mid 90s. It's the year 2024. If your work looks dated, it's probably because, like we were talking earlier, you got happy and then you got satisfied and then you got complacent and then you just decided that was where you were going to stick, and they stagnated and stayed there. If that's you and you are the guy in my town and you know who you are, you can give me a thumbs down. But other than that, when it comes to the opinions of others, there are points at which I care. There are points at which I don't care. You can't take everything to heart. So we just do our best. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. In the doobly-doo below, you'll find a link to this guy, Raj, who started this 30-day journey, and I followed him. I built this list. I built this list off of his list, and you can use it for free. So I'll put a link in the doobly-doo below. Please follow it. You don't need to even let me know, but I would love to hear some feedback. I would love if you would consider subscribing or looking at some of my other videos if you care about any of that content. And thank you so very much. By all means, design your future.